Mangwana ni mwalelepo vukenjani Class Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Betty and Diana Master. How are you, Diana?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic.
It's a Thursday.
Quarter
to the weekend.
Quarter to the weekend, indeed. Yes, indeed.
But before we get carried away and excited for the weekend, let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza bombed again by Israeli forces as UN chief calls for immediate ceasefire. One of last Rwanda genocide fugitives confirmed dead. And Google to avoid dangerous routes in South Africa. We'll be right back with our top stories right after this break.
All right, let's get straight into it. The Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza has been bombed again by Israeli forces. Israel's attacks on Al-Shifa started just hours after the United States-backed Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's claim that the facility is a hub for Hamas. Israeli forces entered the enclave's largest hospital on Wednesday, targeting a Hamas command center they say is located below thousands of ailing and sheltering civilians. The Israel Defense Forces published what is said was proof of Hamas tunnels and infrastructure beneath the surface at Al-Shifa, which it said justifies the bombing of hospitals where Palestinians are seeking refuge and treatment in their thousands. Doctors, human rights experts and analysts have rejected similar claims made by Israel and reiterated that hospitals are protected under international humanitarian law, according to Al Jazeera. Now, the spokesman for the Ministry of Health in Gaza, Ashraf Al-Qudra, said there are only doctors, patients and displaced people inside Al-Shifa hospital.
Now, one of the last Rwanda genocide fugitives has been confirmed dead. Alois Ndimbati, one of the last remaining fugitives wanted over the 1994 genocide in Rwanda, has been confirmed dead, international prosecutors said on Tuesday, almost 3 decades after his demise. Ndimbati was indicted by the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda on 7 counts relating to the genocide, which saw around 800,000 people, most of them Tutsis, slaughtered over 100 days. These charges were genocide, complicity in genocide, direct and public incitement to commit genocide, and the crimes against humanity of extermination, murder, rape, and persecution. The Office of the Prosecutor at the International Residual Mechanism for Criminal Tribunals, the successor to the UN Tribunal, said it was able to conclude, following a comprehensive and challenging investigation, that Ndimbati died by around the end of June 1997. No reliable and corroborated evidence of him being alive after that time has been identified, the prosecutor's office said in a statement.
Now, Google navigation apps, which are Waze and Google Maps, will no longer guide users through Cape Town's Nyanga Township and nearby areas due to increased security concerns, announced Alistair Mokoena, the company's South Africa head. Now, last week, a U.S. tourist was robbed and shot in the face in Nyanga after following the navigation's app's route, which directed him through the township as the quickest path from Cape Town International Airport to the city. Now, in September, British surgeon Kahawa Teo, aged 40, was fatally shot during a protest by taxi operators in the same township. Local media reports that additional individuals, mostly tourists, have been attacked or killed while driving through Nyanga, often after heeding the advice of navigation apps.
Nigeria will withdraw police officers from VIP security duties in line with the presidential directive, a minister has said. State Minister of Police Affairs Hajia Iman Suleiman Ibrahim said the police office was currently struggling following decades of neglect that had hampered its ability to fulfill its constitutional mandate. She said in order to realize the president's vision of a renewed, highly effective force, the police would have to evolve its operations. She told the police to champion a review of its training institutions to ensure they are reflective of the evolving landscape of law enforcement, incorporating contemporary practices and international standards. She spoke during a 2-day retreat with the police cadres in the capital, Abuja. She said the ministry had key mandates of developing and implementing a harmonized police reform report and amending the Police Act, as well as executing the president's directive on the withdrawal of police personnel from VIP security duties and developing a community policing strategy.
All right, now South Sudan's President Salva Kiir has fired the police chief as part of a move against security officials following reports of an attempted coup. Leading security figures downplayed the coup rumors that emerged over the weekend when Kiir was on official visit to Riyadh for a summit. A day later, local media reported that 27 military intelligence officers had been arrested. Next year, South Sudan is due to hold its first election since it gained independence in 2011. A 5-year civil war ended in a peace deal in 2018, but the agreement is yet to be fully implemented and the country remains fragile. Stay with Africa Good Morning, because after the break, we're going to be talking about China and Namibia's bilateral trade relations. Stay with us.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Now, the Chinese and Namibia bilateral trade volumes have reached $1 billion deal between January 2023 and September 2024. This is according to the Chinese ambassador to Namibia, Zhao Weiping. Jemima Beerkus has more.
Between the two leaders, after 5 years since their last meeting in 2018 in Beijing, the two presidents have reached important consensus on pushing forward the China-Namibia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. And on the same day of the bilateral meeting, President Gengo also attended the China-Africa Leaders Dialogue, which was hosted by President Xi and South African President. And at that dialogue, President Xi announced China's initiative on supporting Africa's industrialization, China's plan for supporting Africa's agricultural modernization, and also China's plan for China-Africa cooperation on talent development. In addition to the bilateral meeting I mentioned, our two presidents also have maintained close contact with each other by exchanging letters. So the personal engagement, the close engagement between our two presidents has provided strategic guidance for the development of our bilateral relations. And the second important development of the bilateral relations this year is the picking up of the exchanges of official visits between our two countries. You know, for the past 3 years, bilateral official visits have virtually stopped because of the pandemic. So this year, we have witnessed the resumption of these bilateral official visits. And the major visits from China included the one headed by Mr. Zhang Jianhua, Administrator of the National Energy Administration, and also the one headed by Mr. Tang Wenhong, Vice Chairman of China International Development Cooperation Agency. Both delegations had the honor to pay courtesy calls upon President Gengo and held talks with relevant Namibian government ministries. Vice Chairman Tang Wenhong also paid a courtesy call on the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. The third achievement of the bilateral relations is the further strengthening of bilateral trade and economic cooperation. According to the statistics by the Chinese side, from January to September this year, China-Namibia bilateral trade volume reached 1 billion US dollars, an increase of 29% over the same period of last year. Although no major investment projects announced this year, an increasing number of Chinese companies are showing their interests in investment opportunities in Namibia.
So the weather has been very tricky and unpredictable in Windhoek. Some people say it's always been like that. I mean, yesterday it seemed like it was going to rain. It rained a little bit.
Yeah.
The heat has been unrelenting at the same time. So the only thing we can really trust, just like you, is the weather predictions for Southern Africa.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
All right, let's start economic news with some big money talk in the world of football. The 2027 Africa Cup of Nations will be the most profitable in history. Now, this is according to Bayam Mukama, a board member of the Federation of Uganda Football Associations. Uganda will host the tournament alongside East African neighbors Kenya and Tanzania, the first time in history that three countries have delivered the continental showpiece. There's a minimum guarantee of 9 completely sold-out home games, a record that has never been achieved before, since a single host can only guarantee 3 home games, Bayam told BBC Sport Africa. I can declare with confidence that the 2027 tournament will be the most commercially viable event for the Confederation of African Football. Now, the 3 hosts will aim to have a shared spirit of pamoja, which translates as unity or together. Yet a tournament spread across Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania entails unique challenges. Stakeholders from all 3 countries met in Kenya this week for the first time since their bid was accepted, with discussions dominated by infrastructure and anticipated difficulties. Do you think this is sorry, but do you think this is a trend that's happening? The FIFA World Cup is also going to be in 3 countries, in Mexico. Is it now about trying to see how much money you can make from a World Cup?
I definitely think so, hey, because at the end of the day, like you read in the story, it makes more sense to have it across 3 different
yes. Now, where it does get tricky is like Uganda is battling with the occasional terrorist insurgency. You know what I mean? There isn't much stability there. Kenya has had protests across the board throughout the year. We don't know if that will change. We hope that it will. But if they're saying that it's going to bring a lot of money for Africa.
And I mean, hey, it is only later on. It's not right now. So it gives them a little bit of time to iron out their issues and all of that. But then again, like you said, it could present its own challenges because now it's attracting way more people, which means
a lot of people to manage.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
So we will be keeping an eye on the situation and seeing how that develops. Now, getting into our next story, Europe will struggle to secure domestic supplies of vital battery mineral lithium due to permit delays and local opposition to projects, driving prices high higher, Sibanye Stillwater SSWJJ CEO Neil Frontman said on Tuesday. Prices for battery-grade lithium have declined but remained at historically high levels, and the market is forecast to move to mounting deficits from 2025 onwards, according to SFA Oxford analysts. Permitting problems and opposition by local groups had derailed a project in Serbia and jeopardized projects in Portugal and Spain, SFA Oxford analysts told a briefing. Diversified miner Sibanye is developing its 80% owned Keliber lithium project in Finland at an initial cost of 656 million euros. It expects to start delivering 15,000 metric tons of battery-grade lithium hydroxide annually to the European battery market by 2025. The European Union is pushing to reduce its reliance on China, which dominates global battery metal supply, and has proposed a Critical Raw Materials Act that seeks to drive local production. The act set time limits on granting permits for strategic mining, recycling and processing projects, and requires large companies needing strategic materials in key technologies to do regular risk assessments of their supply chains.
All right, stay with us as we head to the economic indicators just before we return with the sport. Now, for those of you who are paying attention, when the year started and last year ended, Diana was a Manchester United fan. Yes. But due to unforeseeable reasons,
I made this publicly known.
You made it publicly known that you no longer support Manchester.
Yes,
I would just like to point out to you right now, they've got the current best record in the Premier League of the last 5 matches. They've managed to collect 12 points, but it just doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't, like, in all honesty, I will say this again. The day David De Gea left Manchester United was the day I publicly distanced myself from them.
Oh, wow.
I told my brother this 10 years ago when I got into football. I said to him, the day this man leaves Manchester United is the day I leave.
You like me with regards to basketball. I follow LeBron James wherever he goes, and I look forward to following his son, but he hasn't he hasn't peaked yet. Yeah, no, but looking at the Premier League right now, just at the international break, Manchester City is at the top. That's a very familiar sight. Liverpool and Arsenal are right behind them. Tottenham is on number 4. Aston Villa, Man United, Newcastle make up 5, 6, and 7. And we'd like to know what your predictions are, particularly heading into the matches when we return to the Premier League. Tottenham taking on Man City. Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting one. Oh, yeah. And hey, did you know, according to the analyst, a wonderfully imperfect Chelsea are apparently Premier League's most entertaining team.
Entertaining?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, of course, when you fluctuate that much between the bottom table and the upper table. By the way, the next game is actually Man City versus Liverpool. Man City plays Tottenham after that, so the Liverpool one is really huge. But yes, Chelsea is definitely entertaining, because who spends that much money and is 10 points down the league? That's exciting. You know what I'm saying?
It's entertaining.
Yeah,
it's entertaining.
It's entertaining. You gotta love it. Here's Ari Hogarth with less entertaining but certainly more factual sport news.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news and starting off with tennis news first. The ATP finals being played in Turin, that's in Italy. The top 8 best players in men's tennis are playing in the finals. Good result for local boy Yannick Sinner. He's just 22 years old and he beat Novak Djokovic. Djokovic is 36 years old but still the world number 1. It is Sinner winning that game 7-5, 6-7 and 7-6. Very tough game indeed, and it took 3 hours and 9 minutes for Sinner to win that game. Not all over for Novak Djokovic to go through to the semi-finals. The top 2 in each group of 4 will go through to the semi-finals. It is Djokovic that next play against Hubert Hurkacz. It is Hubert Hurkacz that is in the tournament now because Stefanos Tsitsipas had to withdraw because of injury. But if Djokovic can beat Hurkacz, then he will definitely be in the semi-final. In the other 4 players in the group, on the top 8 of the ATP finals, there is Daniel Medvedev. He's the world number 3. He's one of the favorites to go through in that side of the draw, together with Alexander Zverev. And continuing international sports news with soccer news, and it is news from Manchester City that plays in the English Premier League. They're not only doing well in winning trophies, they're also doing well making money. And in the 2022-2023 financial year statements, it is Manchester City that announced a total revenue for that financial year of 712 million euros, so quite a big amount of revenue that was created by them. And they also announced that they had profits of 80 million euros, so a good season or good year for Manchester City. Of course, they won the treble. That means they've won the English Premier League, also the FA Cup and the Champions League all in 1 year, and the second time ever that's happened in soccer history. So Manchester City doing well on the field and also financially. And closing off today's international sports news with golf news and the new world rankings, men's world rankings out. It is Scottie Scheffler of the USA still the world number 1, followed by Rory McIlroy number 2, and then Jon Rahm is number 3 in the world at the moment. The biggest jump on the world rankings is Camilo Villegas, and he won the past weekend the Bermuda Championship, and it's the first win in 9 years, so he was number 318 in the world. After the win, he jumped 155 places. He's now 163rd in the world. Also news from the DP World Tour, and that is the DP World Championships will be played from Thursday to Sunday. That's a season-ending tournament on the European Tour. Also the race to Dubai. Normally this tournament determines who wins the race of Dubai, but it is already confirmed that Rory McIlroy has got enough points to win the race to Dubai even before the tournament, and it will be Jon Rahm that will be second. The DP World Tour also announced that there's more prize money for the next season for 2024. It will be a total of 117 million euros that will be on offer for prize money throughout the year, and it's an increase of 3.4 million euro. And there was also more tournaments. 3 significant tournaments that was added is in Dubai, also in Bahrain, and also again a tournament in China. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
You're still with Africa. Good morning. For those of you that are just joining us, let's take a look at the highlights from today's broadcast. Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza bombed again by Israeli forces as UN chief calls for immediate ceasefire. One of last Rwanda genocide fugitives confirmed dead. AFCON 2027 tournament predicted to be most profitable with 3 hosts.
Those have been your highlights, and that has been our broadcast. Remember, Miss Namibia Jamila Uiras is currently at the Miss Universe competition, and we have an opportunity to vote for her in one of the categories. Please check out the Miss Namibia social media pages to see how you can prop up Namibia's diamond, Jamila Uiras, as she makes the land of the brave proud. From Diana Master and Nashwin Berry, Sweda Jaganaka.